harassment.
We're not harassing.
It's my property. It's our property. It's our property.
It's our property.
Hey guys, with today's video, we're gonna look at a new law that has been passed in Texas that addresses squatters, but if you could look a little deeper into it, you can see how it takes away a lot of rights, protections that a renter might have, especially when you fall on hard times. Let's check it out.
Against squatters in Texas could soon affect every single renter in this entire state.
That's because lawmakers are considering speeding up all evictions.
All is the key word there. iTeam's Andrea Lucia joining us. What do we need to know?
Yeah, well, the shortest timeline for an eviction is about 30 days, but the process often lasts much longer than that, especially with squatters.
This East Dallas building on Gaston Avenue is almost empty. Almost.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 living in there.
The owners have spent 18 months trying to evict the people from apartment G so they can sell the property.
They have not paid since June of 23. And they keep going to court, appealing, and they keep getting granted.
These tenants were always one step ahead. Like they're reading books up there, just following, like what's another loophole? How can we continue staying in here for free? And the legal system is it's just not on the landlord's side whatsoever.
So before we go any further, this may trigger some of you. You may be looking at it from a standpoint of, where are these poor folks going to move to? You may be looking at it from the side of a owner or current or prior past landlord standpoint, in which you're like, well, you can't stay for free. I'll tell you a personal story that happened to my family years ago where we dealt with a squatter. And when I tell you, I'm one of the most helpful people out here, but it got to a point where this family, man, this guy was arrogant to say the least. And I tell you, when you are in that position, it'll run your eye. We paid for their living expenses for 6-7 months. And thank God it didn't turn out catastrophic financially for us, but I could see it from both sides. Here's the point before we go further. You got to pay to stay, and the rules that are coming down the pike are not in your favor. You might be saying, well, hey, Robert, what's the difference if I own the home? Well, we just went through the pandemic, and if you know of anyone that had a government insured loan, good, bad, or indifferent, a lot of those folks, if they fell on hard times, you have more recourse, more resources to help you stay in the home. Ownership, control, however you want to look at it, is more beneficial than renting. Because as you'll see, and as we go further in time on, I wouldn't be surprised in 10 years if rent average for a decent size, 2 bed, 3 bath across the board is pushing $3,000 a month. And so this is why I speak to those of you out there who can. The longer you wait, the more expensive it's going to get. And it's going to get to the point where it's more expensive on the renter side, and you still won't have the bandwidth, the margin that left over to invest like a lot of these naysayers are telling you to do. Let's move forward.
Jill and her husband say they used to pay weekly until the landlord stopped taking partial payments. The couple has filed several appeals that have dragged out the eviction process.
I always was weekly of once I got paid, I gave them something. But if income tax came or something else came, I gave them what I had at the time.
When you file the court cases, are you fighting the court cases to stay here or why?
To buy me time. I'm not trying to stay here. Go to court. Whatever the judge's decision was, and if I had money to go, I'll go. I do not want to.
When did the lease expire?
I don't have a lease.
It was not a lease. Well, if you don't have a lease, why would you have the right to stay?
Never had a lease to begin with.
This court hearing ends with the judge giving Mitchell one more chance to pay rent.
All right, hey, Friday morning, 9:30.
All right. Stop taping me. Couldn't stop.
There's no data on how many evictions involve squatters, but over the years, the I-Team has covered cases that have cost homeowners thousands of dollars in rent and repairs.
These people are chronically just victimizing, and no one's holding them accountable.
It was every story that you've ever heard about somebody not being able to pay rent.
I'm going to lose my house. That's the first thing. I'm losing my house.
I'm trying to live the American dream, and somebody can walk in and destroy everything I have.
This is a problem across the state, and we're going to fix it.
Now state lawmakers are vowing to change eviction laws to protect property owners. But critics say the so-called squatters bill would reduce legal protections for all tenants by speeding up evictions.
There is nothing lawful or fair about this bill at all. In fact, it is extremely and obviously unconstitutional. You can evict a tenant in 10 days without a trial. How is there due process in that? I don't.
Man, these politicians get up under my skin. Again, let me relax. If you're handicapped, if you're an elder, if there's a reason for you to not have to move, the property owner shouldn't be held captive, but we need to find another solution. You can't just steal somebody's home. They probably have a mortgage and things of that nature on it, and it's just not right. That's why the rule has to change. And so all of the victimization that you hear, everybody's not a victim. Again, this has happened to me on a couple of different levels. Squatter in our property, and as a property manager, somebody that we ended up having to pay even in that situation for a problem to go away. I'm glad that these laws are being changed. Here's my point in all of this. If you are someone that is able to buy and you think that not owning or controlling, however you want to put it, okay, is the way to go, you better wake up, because this bill has passed and this is Texas, and you could be up out of there in 10 days and you got to go. So don't sit on the sideline and wait until you cannot afford, thinking that there's going to be this monumental crash, because there's a lot of disingenuous people online that are capitalizing off of that lust or that fear that you have, knowing full well that we're not in that environment, nowhere near 2008 through 13, not the same dynamics. So my exhortation to you is, if you can buy, you want to get with the lender that you know, like, and trust, weigh your options and see what you can afford. Because from 2020 to now, affordability for some people has been, it has passed you by, and you're not going to be able to buy. And you're going to be dealing with landlords that have more and more power. Not everybody was like me and has compassion. Some folks are just black and white, man. You pay, you stay. You don't, you won't. Let's finish this thing out.
I don't want people to be kicked out on the streets. No one does. But to allow someone to go months and months and months without paying rent, to continue to be able to stay there because of procedural grounds, seems to me patently unfair and wrong.
Another bill, SB 1333, is designed to make squatting a crime. That means property owners could get police involved and avoid the eviction process altogether.
This bill would draw a distinction between folks who have overstayed their leases and not paid rent, and then those who just show up and occupy property without any legal basis, whatever.
As for the Gaston Avenue case.
All right. Court call cause number CC25007991E, Gaston Topper Apartments v. Mitchell.
Time was running out for Mitchell and her husband.
I am awarding them a writ of possession in accordance with the law. Okay?
What does that mean?
Okay, what that means is that they will be entitled to possess the residence.
How long do I have to get out of there?
Well, immediate means immediate.
What does that mean? 24 hours today? 2 hours? What does that mean?
But immediate in this case meant 13 more days. So nearly 2 weeks after the judge's decision, constable deputies came to carry out the eviction.
So we'll go ahead and move on with the eviction.
It's very stressful. Like, I can't do nothing else but worry about going to court, what I'm gonna do. You know, it's just stress. It's just like a I don't know situation. I don't want to live like this, but I don't have nowhere to go.
Why rent an apartment that's beyond what you can pay for and then feel like you can just stay for free? It seems like the law is on the tenant side right now and not the landlord side.
So, tough situation, guys. Again, don't want to see anybody on hard times, not looking down my nose at anybody. But if you are able-bodied, control all that you can control, do that. Young folks, don't get hoodwinked and bamboozled into kicking it all the time. Shelter is a need, period. Heart breaks even for these folks. You don't want to see anybody out on the street. Don't put yourself in that position. If you want to know where you stand, the best thing to do is to submit a complete application and to find out what you have to do, if anything, or what a payment really looks like, one that you can afford, and keep that house and have some protections that come only with ownership. Well, if that's you, watch this video right over here. And then if you're someone that says, hey, Robert, I understand that my issue is I don't have enough money to cover all of the down payment and closing costs, well, I think you might enjoy this playlist over here. You guys be blessed, and we'll talk to you soon.